The WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up at underdogfantasy.com. Promo code NBA SGPN to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits. Yes, sir. We are back with another season of the WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. You know me, know the voice, know the guys, me, really real, villain real, Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. I know this is a glorious time. The season is back. We're getting ready to get going again. And, you know, we're really, really excited about that. But this is a really, really sad time right now. And as you can see, first of all, shout out to our listeners for this really cool graphic of the Muppets. And Scott, I have to admit, Scott, I am very happy that my stack is slightly larger than yours in the picture. YouTube.com/NBA Gambling Podcast to see the picture and to see of my stack of green cash slightly bigger than Scott's. Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, what's going on? Dang, mishap on the first one?
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
Yeah, can't complain. I'm looking forward to another season. Should be fun. I know that a lot of people have been waiting for the WNBA to return, including us. So nice to be back here. I know, of course, we have a lot to get through. We have a couple of futures episodes. We have win totals, but we switched it up this time. Instead of doing one win total episode, we're doing one for each conference. So we have a bonus episode for the Western Conference. And next time out, we have awards to talk about. A lot of stuff, so it should be fun. Season's in less than a month. So once again, strap in, and we got a couple weeks to go before we end up getting the season underway. So looking forward to breaking down the off-season recap, etc.
But first, Scott, we have some very serious business. Oh, wait, Scott, I'm touching stuff and I'm breaking stuff, and this is not fun. It's not doing what it's...
We're not using StreamYard again like next week anyway, so might as well get it out of the way.
It's not... Okay, get that off. All right, boom. Now put us back in our normal bubbles. All right, there we go. That's better. Okay. Now, Scott, we have some serious business to handle. Gosh, if this was an actual funeral, it would have been the most chaotic thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
But we must mourn. We mourn a legend here, and you see us in our suit jackets as we sit here and talk about a very, very crucial member of our show that is no longer here with us. And so we mourn a legend today. The Washington Mystics first half spread. You were so pure, so profitable. You were more than just a bet. You were family. I mean, under the hands of the Tebow family, and shouts out to them, both coaches, dad and son. The first half was good ever since we've been doing the show, Scott. It was an act of God for that Mystics first half not to hit. And unfortunately, the Mystics organization realized what we unfortunately knew, which is if you're really good at covering the spread in the first half and then you do horrible in the second half, you're probably not good at your job.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But it's really tough, man, because whenever I needed a bet, it was always there.
Mm-hmm.
Always there. And so I just want to say you were good to us. Mystics first half spread. Rest easy, old friend. And may the betting slips we cashed in your honor may never be forgotten.
Amen.
I didn't know if I was going to get through that, Scott. I didn't know.
Oh, it has.
Whoa.
All right, well, at first we started slow. We started real slow. And, that's all right. That's okay, because sometimes in life you're going to start slow. That's okay. We told ourselves, hey, we're going to start slow. We're going to keep going fast. We're going to start slow, but we're always going to finish fast. No matter what the score was, we're going to finish hard. We're going to finish fast. Yeah, they had us the first half. I'm not going to lie.
They always had us in the first half. I'm not gonna lie. They always had us. Every time. They always had us in the first half.
It was an auto bet.
Maybe there is a chance maybe that this team can find a way to still cover in the first half. But
Scott,
it's going to be asking a lot.
if they still cover in the first half, you're never gonna hear the end of it from me. This is,
Yeah.
I mean, get rid of the jackets. It's gonna be a party here because the
Yeah, pretty much.
first half could be back. Oh, if it was back, I promise you, I would. That would be amazing. But I mean, both coaches, father and son, both gone from the organization. They actually both work for the Lynx, so let's look forward to it. All right, let's get down to some serious business here. We've got a lot to go through here. All of the Eastern Conference win totals. Before we get to that, though, just remember, hey, go support some of our free content by taking a second and just giving us a 5-star rating and review, especially the WNBA Gambling Podcast. Go give the WNBA Gambling Podcast a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcast. We have our own feed, so you can just type in WNBA Gambling Podcast on Apple, on Spotify. Please, please, please take 2 seconds. I mean, we're right here. We're giving you the content. Take 2 seconds to do that. 5 stars and subscribe to the WNBA Gambling Podcast, not just here on YouTube on the NBA Gambling Podcast, but also wherever you get your podcasts. All right. Man, it's a lot. That was a really, really tough segment and really emotional. But how do we want to start this year, Scott? Do we want to go from top to bottom or bottom to top?
We always go, I think, from the worst team allegedly to the best team. But a reminder, by the way, we did add a new team to the league. However, that's in the Western Conference. So there is an uneven amount. We have 6 teams in the East and 7 teams in the West. So keep that in mind.
I always thought they need to add more Eastern teams. Like,
they're going to. The point is they're in the middle of expanding multiple teams. So.
But just like on the East Coast, like they're in Toronto, and that's all the way up there in Toronto. Like, we just have the Atlanta Dream, and then you got the Mystics. But like, can we get like a Florida team maybe, or like
I'm trying to remember Toronto. What are they?
Charlotte. I would love if Charlotte came back.
Toronto Tempo, I think.
Toronto Tempo. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's cool.
It's a nice name.
They're going to be playing Chris Brown Tempo every single game. Like every single game. All right. So we'll start with the worst. Connecticut Sun. Oh man.
What a fall from grace.
Oh dude. This is bad. This is really, really bad. Let's go ahead and pull up the Sun roster there so everybody can get a good look. So we got the Connecticut Sun here, who are, where are my notes? There we go. This is, I hope I'm probably saying his name wrong. I got to figure out how to say his name, but this is Rashid Mizan's first season as head coach of the Connecticut Sun. Stephanie White has moved on. We've got key losses. Scott, I wrote the whole team.
It's honestly not wrong.
Scott, if you actually look at the training camp roster here, the only name that was here on the last training camp roster was Olivia Nelson-Ododa.
Just to be clear, by the way, they lost their head coach and all 5 of their starters from last year. They actually lost the entire starting line.
No. Again, this is literally O. Literally, only person that was there in training camp last year. The only person. So this is an entirely brand new team. And so no Alyssa Thomas, no DeWanna Bonner, no Dejanay Carrington, all of that gone. Key additions. Tina Charles is here. Lindsey Allen. You got Diamond DeShields, won the championship. It gives you some defense. And then they drafted Anissa Morrow and Sanaya Rivers. So you got Anissa Morrow, who is going to give you an unlimited motor, even though she's a little bit undersized for a big. And then you got Sanaya Rivers, who is a guard that can also help add some scoring. But, I mean, Scott, they were not even given a chance to succeed after losing that entire team. Like, if that is the talent that you brought in from what the bridesmaid that the Connecticut Sun were for so many seasons, oh, dude. It's really bad. It's really, really bad in Connecticut this season.
Well, I'm going to ask you, though, just based on how they lost in the semis last year, we constantly talk about how they underachieved in the playoffs and never got over the hump. Do you think they made the right decision nuking the entire team? Forget about what they got back in return, just the actual premise of getting rid of AT, getting rid of everybody.
I will never say getting rid of AT, I think, is the issue, is the answer. But do I think that team presently constructed had any chance of beating the top Liberty and Aces?
Yeah.
No, never.
I don't think they would have been the Lynx either, but we'll
see. And we saw that. I mean, we saw they couldn't beat the Lynx. And so you add the Lynx in that. So now there's the top 3 teams in the league they can't get past. Like, you have to change something. But this just felt like, very, very rash and an immediate fire sale of everybody and all of the stars saying they want out of this team now. Like, I mean, I can't blame them because you can't replace an entire team. You
No.
replacing a playoff team, but Scott, I don't even think this team is competitive in a lot of games.
No, it feels like, I don't want to use the comparison of the Luka trade, but it feels like when you trade away that many pieces, you're like, that's it? You didn't get anything else back out of that? Like, that's all you got from all the players that you had that I feel like were viewed highly from the WNBA community, and you have this roster. I feel like they could have done better. A reminder, by the way, they did add games to the schedule, which we should mention for the win
Oh,
totals.
yeah. Oh, I actually had a whole segment about that I forgot to get to, but we have a whole bunch of different little rule changes and different game changes for the season. Let's just go ahead and throw that up there real quick. So, Scott, we have new in 2025. Of course, the Valkyries. Everybody probably tracking that. The season did extend from 40 to 44 games. So there are 4 more games in the regular season with the Valkyries, and that just kind of evens everything out, or however they do the algorithm.
One of us. Welcome, Valkyries. Talk about your next episode. But welcome to the podcast.
Oh, dude, and I'm telling you, I mean, bury the lead, not the worst team in the league.
No,
I'll just go ahead and say it. Not the worst.
This team right here is going to be down there. I don't know if they're going to be the worst team, but they're going to be competing.
Somehow the Valkyries are priced like somehow their price is the worst. All right, we'll get to that later. So playoff format changes. We have the Caitlin Clark rule that happened, and so that is actually the 1-1-1 in the first round of the best of 3. Scott, I have to say, let's bring this down for a second. I think that rule is so stupid. Without having official conferences, I know we're breaking them up in conferences in terms of
it's convenience, but yeah, the bracket they just mix everything.
The bracket is just mixed in. Scott, there's a chance that the Liberty could have a home
against the Sparks, and they're flying back and forth.
What?
It's chaos. Yeah, it is. Chaos.
And I get you wanted her to have a home playoff game, and you felt like you got robbed of that. One, you didn't get robbed of that. They played a really good team in the Connecticut Sun, but dog, that is at least go back to conferences so that way, even if you're doing that, you're not going across the nation.
Yeah,
like there's a possibility that happens to anybody. Like that could happen to Connecticut. I mean, that could happen. Not Connecticut. Well, it's definitely not going to happen to Connecticut, but Indiana. That could happen to Indiana. Like Indiana to LA isn't a fast trip. Like you're still going cross country, and then got to go back, and then got to go back in case you get to 3 games. So,
I didn't look at the schedule though. I'm assuming they're adding like extra travel days in between that. I have to imagine.
I mean, I would. If they do, does that even make things better?
It doesn't, but it's better than having 1 day while flying across the country. So at least it's like not as bad. But I mean, the way you look at it. You said it was the Caitlin Clark rule. My counterpoint would be, first of all, saving money because you don't have to actually pay for the flight back unless you win one of the first 2 games. So the point is it does give extra home court advantage to the teams that deserved it, which kind of goes into my second point. You had 40 games, now 44, to secure a higher seed. I'm not going to feel bad for you if you went up against a seed that's above you because you should have been better in the large sample size of the regular season. So I think that the rule is dumb. I get why they went for it, but I don't agree with it. So that's how I'll put it. But you said the Caitlin Clark rule. I don't think you're wrong about that. But as we said, Indiana was really underwhelming to start the year. They figured it out, but they figured it out too late to get rewarded with a home playoff game.
Yeah.
I was okay with it, and I kind of liked how unique it was because if you won one of the first 2 games, your reward was a home court advantage in an
elimination game,
which I thought was pretty cool.
That is a huge advantage. If you're you stole one on the road of a higher seed, yes, that is an amazing.
Christian's the one who made the graphic.
Oh, it was Christian. Oh, great! Shout out to Christian. Yeah, man, that sucks. Also, playoff rule change. The finals is a best of 7 now.
Good.
So that'll be fun. And Scott, I thought this one was really, really funny, and so. One, I mean, you probably don't need it to be a rule, but I see why you have one just in case. So, The WNBA has also implemented rules for players who leave during the season to play elsewhere in situations that do not have an exception, including those who don't return from national team events or significant life events within the specified timeframes. For example, a player who doesn't return within 48-hour period of a national team event will be suspended for the rest of the season and banned from the league for the following season.
It's a little bit much, but okay. All right. Fair enough.
So, Scott, if Maureen Johannes didn't make it back to the Liberty within 48 hours of her last game,
She's on the blacklist. She can't play for like 2 years. She's just shut down at that point.
Dog. I mean, I get it. I get why you have it as a rule, but it seems
I think the punishment's a little bit much, but
it seems very extreme.
You want to keep all your players on, I guess, domestic soil is the term I'll use there, but a year and a half or 2 years of suspension is crazy.
It seemed like no,
that's
but
wild.
The actual word it used was banned.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought I thought that was a funny rule, and that's like new. I feel like that's something that you would have had like somewhere in the rule book before of like, hey, if we let you go out and play for this national team, you got to come back in the time frame that you're supposed to. But no, that was actually just now a rule this season. It's hilarious. All right, let's finish up with Connecticut Sun here. We're taking the under. This is clearly how this is ending.
This team's horrible. I wanted to mention the added games, though, so 16.5 isn't the same as last year's 16.5. But when it comes to teams on the schedule that you're probably looking to fade, especially down the stretch when a lot of teams are fighting for a playoff spot, this team should not be one of them. And this team, as we talked about before, lost their head coach and all 5 starters last year. They're completely rebuilding. They nuked the entire team. Maybe they can be feisty as a younger team, but in reality, I mean, Tina Charles is there, I guess, as just a veteran leader. I don't really get the pairing, but either way. The point is, Charles' rebound props might be fun, but that's basically it. I think this team's very good. I'll go with the under. This team might be the worst team in the league. We'll talk about that as we get into the Western Conference, too. This team, in my opinion, wins like 13, 14 games.
Oh, dude, you gave him way more than I gave him.
Because I think in the W, you can accidentally stumble into some wins, and you might see people sitting and stuff like that. I'll give them like 13. You could argue 10.
Scott, that Dallas team last year that was horrible won 9 games.
Yeah. I mean, Dallas was insanely bad that nobody could predict it. The Sparks we thought would be really bad, but they also had some injuries. Like Brink missed a couple months there. Like there were some injuries along the way. So I don't know if they're going to be as bad. I'm leaving the door open for some of the younger players to step up and develop quicker than we think, but I don't see them being good. So either way, I got the under.
Yeah, man, this is potential best bet category already.
Yeah, they're bad.
They're really bad, man. They're really bad. All right. Before we get to the next team on the list, got to talk to you about Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved, no usage fees, no minimums, earn cashback rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN. Deposit $25 and Edge Boost will match the deposit. That is edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet every single sport, including the NBA playoffs, including the WNBA. Shoot, throw some baseball in there as well. Man, you might as well mix in a little hockey as well. You can do all of that. They have props for every game. And in true Degen fashion, for the true Degens, the MyBookie money bag. So, MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of different locations, easy deposit, and lightning fast payouts using cryptocurrency. Head over to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for your 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. All right. Al Gore saying just bet against the Sun in the first game. Who is their first game? It's a great question.
That's a little bit too far down the road for me.
Oh, I don't know. I actually might feel okay and just fade.
I think the answer is going to be yes, because we don't like this team. We think they might be the worst team in the league, so why would we back them in the first game of the season?
Yeah. Ah, dude. First game of the season is a bar burner. Washington Mystics.
We'll talk about the Mystics in a bit, but once again,
right now
that are not, they're not expected to be, let's just say, that good. I'll put it that way.
Oh, we're going to talk about the Mystics right now because the Washington Mystics. Let's get their team roster here. By the way, Scott, I want to say the Mystics did not put any effort into the team roster flyer that they posted on Twitter.
No, and it's a little bit too vertical for me. I kind of wish they
Like
broke it down.
at least Sanaa, they had Sanaa Rivers on. Like, yeah, look, like they have a player. Like we have a
It's side
picture.
to side, you got some color in there. You actually have a
Yeah,
face that goes in
like
there, which is nice.
yeah, come on. Like they could have done way better with this.
You could
So
have
much
thrown
better with
Sykes
this.
on there.
All right, we got the Washington Mystics. Win total sitting there at 18.5. You have brand new head coach in Sidney Johnson coming over. He was a head coach for Princeton, his alma mater. He played there for 4 years. He coached there for 4 years, then went and coached at Fairfield for 8 years. He was a Sky assistant coach last year on Teresa Weatherspoon's roster. So we got all of that. Key losses, Ariel Atkins in a trade that I just completely didn't see coming at all when it happened over to the Chicago Sky. Shatori Walker-Kimbrough leaves in free agency. Julie Van Loo gets drafted over there to the Valkyries. And then we got Carly Samuelson also off of the team. And their key additions are Sonia Citron, Kiki Irfan, and Georgia Moore. So Scott, all of their key additions are draft picks. Nobody came here in free agency.
Well, I am going to ask you, though, out of all the free agents that they didn't get and all the draft picks they did end up using, what are your thoughts on Citron?
I think Citron can be smooth. I think if she gets stronger, of course, and is able to defend on the WNBA level with the outside shooting she could bring to the team, like she's definitely a nice piece to add. Like not nothing that's going to make a team, but I think she's going to be a great piece.
Now, last year, we remember the Mystics were trying to fight for a playoff spot at the very end. They didn't get there, but they tried.
Yeah.
They weren't good at all, and yet the bottom of the WNBA was so bad they almost accidentally backdoored a spot in the playoffs. They decided to kind of, I'd say, embrace the rebuild a bit more, which is why they didn't go for free agents. Seems like they're trying to actually do some talent evaluation, trying to see if their young players are solid. They went through the draft. They're going to try to actually go that way. I mean, I feel like, once again, it's going to be an under on this team because they didn't do anything to actually address the team for immediate success unless the draft picks suddenly blossom quicker than we expect and are able to give them serious minutes. We'll see. But in reality, I see them being an under as well. If you're looking at teams that have to end up in the bottom, this team makes a lot of sense because they're going to let the young players go. And if you're looking at Edwards having a monster emergence into the starting lineup and she has herself a great season, I've been asking for Edwards to get more minutes for about a full season already. You're looking at Shakira, who's always injured, to be honest. We know that she's talented in, of course, her skill level. Same thing with Sykes. Sykes is solid too, but injuries are a problem for this team. They have been for years.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of question marks with durability on this team. So I have to factor it in. But I like the direction they're heading in where they decided, you know what, we'll let the young players go. We'll see what we have, and maybe we'll give Edwards a bunch of minutes, which I appreciate. But unfortunately for them, there's a lot of good teams in the W, and they're not one of them. So I'll go with the under. I'll give them like 16.
Scott, over there in my other show, Fast Break Bets, I was betting Aaliyah Edwards in the one-on-one unrivaled competition.
And she was good.
She won.
Right?
She won.
She won.
She won.
I thought she lost in the final. Okay,
no, she beat Fee in the final.
I thought she lost to Fee. That's why I got confused. Okay.
So I think her first matchup was Enrique, and she was plus money. And I said, I don't know. Like, I know Enrique is really, really tough, but like, she's too big for one-on-one ball.
Size differential is a problem in 1v1.
And it was make it take it. So like, come on.
And we were mad because we wanted Edwards to actually play on this damn team last year, and they just sat her on the bench for the first couple months. Can we let her play like 30 minutes a game?
And so that's really what, like, honestly, truly, I have no idea what the Mystics are doing as an organization. I don't know what the team is going to be going forward, but I think that you put it into a good aspect of, hey, they're just going to let the young players play and see what they have. They said something about championship in the opening presser for Sidney Johnson, and I kind of laughed. But yeah,
to be fair, Matt Ishbia said championships, so you just say whatever you want at press conferences nowadays. To be fair,
so yeah, all I know is this team has players that I want to root for. Like I
Helm just told me that Nafisa did win.
Yeah, huh?
I thought Nafisa won.
Oh yeah, she did win.
What the hell is happening? Yeah, okay, so she was a runner-up. That's what I thought. Okay, so Nafisa won. She got second place. Still very impressive. She got second place.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. Nafisa did win the thing.
Oh, okay. I thought she won at the end. My bad. All right, where are we at? Yeah, that's not going to translate into any wins, man. Like, as much as I really want to root for these players, like, I like Shakira a lot. I like Aaliyah a lot.
She's just never healthy, though,
Kiki.
Shakira, and it's a shame.
Yeah. And that's ultimately what this is going to be. It's going to be Shakira going out, getting her own shot, getting her stats and a couple of buckets. Aaliyah is going to play well. I'm curious on what the offense looks like with Jade and or Georgia running the offense. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Jade. Jade Melbourne was actually really good. People don't know, but she was actually really, really good in the short minutes that she had. So I'm really excited to see her get more minutes. She played in the national team for, I believe it's Australia. And so Shakira, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We know Slim can get her own shot. Like, I know that they have options, and they'll probably be able to score a lot better than we probably give them credit for. But just team cohesion and defensively, I just don't know how it's going to be there to beat the top teams of the league, and they'll probably struggle against some of the bottom teams here or there. 18.5 is a lot. I don't know if I can get there.
That's 16, but there is one bet I do want to make on this team, but that's for the Futures episode later on, either this week or next week. I want Aaliyah most improved player.
Yeah.
And that's like 100%. A no-brainer bet for me. So besides that, that's basically it.
I mean, really, it's Shakira and Aaliyah for the offense. It's just, do you have the offense where
and Sykes. You got to throw Sykes in there for the offense.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. Brittany Sykes. Like, that's really where your offensive options are going. And then as everybody else is playing off of them, but you also got to get the ball to them.
Yeah. I'm just saying Aaliyah averaged 7 and 5. Like, she's a prime candidate for most improved.
Yeah, 100%. That, and we'll get to that, but I'm with you there. And we'll definitely be betting her for that. All right. Let's get to the next team.
By the way, I looked it up, and Edwards won game 1, and she lost the final 2 games to Nafisa.
Oh,
so it was 2 out of 3.
That's what I was thinking of. She won the first game, 2 out of 3. All right. Where are we at here? Chicago Sky. Boom. Let's pull up the Chicago Sky team roster here. See, like, this is what I'm talking about.
That's an actual graphic.
This is really good. Very, very good by the
numbers. You have multiple players.
They even give us a little bit of a different font. Like, this is really good. Why can't everybody do this? This is not hard. I feel like this is not hard. Some people are just lazy with their social stuff, especially the Liberty at times. No, you know who's the worst social team in any, like, not just WNBA, anybody? The New York Giants. Oh my gosh. Horrible.
I mean, to be fair, your team hasn't had much to cheer about in a long time, but yes, it's not a very good social media team.
All right, not too much.
That's what I'm saying. I was trying to keep it simple, but you know what I'm trying to say.
We got another first-time head coach here. Tyler Marsh. I'm really excited about this hire.
There's so many first-time head coaches, though. You have to wonder how they're going to look just out of the gate. That's kind of the question you have with these coaches.
Yep, I agree. Tyler Marsh comes over from the Aces player development, and he was doing a lot of work with Asia. He was doing a lot of work with all of the guards over there, and guy that's just kind of been around, done some stuff in the G League, and so really interested to see his first stint as a head coach here in Chicago. I didn't understand the firing of Teresa, to be honest. But
they really weren't as bad as the expectations suggest.
Yeah,
like, they weren't supposed to be that good.
Injuries were horrible, dog. Yeah. Like,
remember the end of the year,
really, really bad. Yeah, it was nobody
they pulled
playing.
Harrison off the shelf and said, "Please play 25 minutes," and she didn't play the entire season.
Yeah,
they had nobody.
It was really, really rough. So I didn't understand the firing, but I think that it's a good hire outside of a weird firing. So it kind of makes me like feel some type of way about it. But I'd say
they have an on-court coach anyway. They got Vandersloot back on the team.
Yeah, they do. And we'll talk about that because key additions here. Courtney Vandersloot, Ariel Atkins, both on the team, both gold medalists. Mm-hmm. Well, let's Courtney Vandersloot. Yeah, no.
I have to imagine, right?
She's
been around for so long.
I know for a fact Ariel gold medalist. I don't know if Courtney Vandersloot made one. I have to go double check, but I'm sure she did.
If she was on Team USA, she won a gold medal because they win every year. So it comes down to making it 1 year.
Hey, so it's literally did she make Team USA?
That's really it. Did she make the team? That's it.
All right. They also bring in Rebecca Allen Scott. That's going to be a very interesting pickup defensively, 3-and-D type of player.
They got Haley Van Lith. That counts.
Yep. And they bring in the other rookie. Scott, you got to help me with this. So I got a pronunciation, and I still feel like I've been saying it wrong. It's Aisha Sioka.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Oh, all right. Thanks. Cool. And then another big addition that was on the team, but not on the team. Will is back. That's going to be like another big that can play well defensively and just give you somebody that can, when you run into the Asia Wilson and the Nafisa Colliers of the world, that can go match up with them and not let them do a 35, 40-point night. Yeah, you're going to need that. So here we are. We're back with the Sky, where I look at the roster and I say, man, I like you, but like, I mean, how
Well,
far?
you are forgetting though to mention one player that I have to interrupt you with, and that is no Carter. They got a different Carter.
Oh yeah. I didn't do the key
They don't
losses.
have our Carter, but they have a different Carter. But Kennedy
Yeah,
Carter's
key
not there
losses.
anymore.
Key losses for the team. Kenny Carter, Dana Evans is not there anymore. Lindsey Allen is over there in Connecticut. We talked about that earlier. Isabel Harrison is over there in New York. But
I had to
Kenny
mention
Carter,
Kennedy Carter though, because she was a bucket.
she was the
last year.
offense. She was the offense. She was the offense. What was it? Near 20-point per game score, if not already there.
I mean, once again, they got Atkins. They got a couple players who might be able to fill the void, but Carter was one of the better offensive players, arguably the best offensive player on the team last year, and she's not there. So,
and that's the part that I still struggle. Even though I look at the team and I say, okay, now they have a legit point guard in Courtney Vandersloot, where I didn't think Courtney Vandersloot was aiding the Liberty at all.
No.
She actually plays a really, really good role here because she could get the ball to Angel. She could get the ball to Will. She can get the ball to Cardoso, especially Cardoso, because if Cardoso's been working like how she looks like she's been working the offseason, she's going to come in there with a different mentality of being as big she is in this league, and she could be dominant with the point guard that can get her the ball. So, like, I look at it, Ariel Atkins can definitely still light it up when asked and called upon. I've seen that going to DC games all the time. It's just that a lot of her stuff happens in the second half of games. So Ariel Atkins prime, let her not do anything in the first half and then take over the second half type of player. But I don't know, man. 20 wins is a lot, but it is still technically under 500.
Yeah, it is. They can go 20-24 and go over. I have the over personally, but I think looking at this roster, Vandersloot is also going to provide some veteran leadership, which I think is important. Same thing with Atkins. I do think that this team lacked some maturity last year, which is why things kind of unraveled down the stretch, besides the injuries. It just felt like everything in games, they would self-destruct. They didn't have a stabilizer, and I feel like they needed one of those. And I feel like getting some veteran leadership to help the young players grow and even just work on their overall in-game adjustments, I think might help from an on-court perspective. To me, this seems like a 500 team. They'll have some ups, they'll have some downs, but I like the overall depth on the team. I don't know if Van Lith will do much in a rookie season, but she can give you an option off the bench. I do like the, once again, front court with Cardoso and with Reese. They should dominate the boards in almost every game. I like their overall roster. Yes, there should be some ups and downs along the way, but I think that a 22-22 season is pretty realistic for this team. I like the over. I think that 19.5 is too short. I think 22-22 is really not asking for much. I think they're a playoff team. Looking at the roster, I think they're good enough to get in. Not as a high seed, but they can sneak in. That's good enough for 21.
I mean, I still think I think they could get in, but if they get in at 19 or 18,
yeah,
I wouldn't.
It's possible too, but I'm just saying, I think they'll end up somewhere in the 20s, somewhere in the low 20s if I had to price it myself.
I would just like to see this play out well, so I will go over. But I will note my skepticism of the Chicago Sky, because they could very much be a team that I love to root for, and they cover the spread for us a lot, but they're not winning any of those games, and that's going to be the frustrating part.
The one thing I'll mention about the Sky's the last point is that we talk about injuries a lot and how it can easily unravel or just cause a team season to self-destruct. At least I like the depth on this team.
Yeah.
If they have a couple of nagging injuries to some key pieces, they're not totally dead. They can find ways to manufacture a 500 record with some injuries to some key personnel. And other teams can't really do that. So I do like the depth they have compared to other bad teams based on win totals.
Give me the under in every single game.
They're going to play great defense, or they should at least.
Yeah, they're going to play great defense. I'm with you. Yeah, they got Mariah Jefferson that can help out with some scoring there too, and I think she's still going to make the team. Yeah, my concern was if there was an injury here or there, how would this team look? But I think that you got it with Mariah Jefferson, Rachel Banham. Like they're deep enough where even if you have some injuries, they're still going to have players that can go out there compete and still look good. Morgan Birch is still there. I
Yeah, and you
like her as
throw
a
in Kia
player.
Nurse too. You got, of course,
Yeah,
Reese Atkins. You got. I don't think Vandersloot's that good, but she's a good facilitator and she'll give you some leadership. They have a nice blend of
right.
overall, I'd say, talent from like 1 to 8, 1 to 9.
E
That's good
Will
enough.
coming back is huge for me. E
Yeah,
Will
that
coming
too.
back is amazing. So, all right, I'm with that. And if Angel goes down, you have E Will and you
Yeah,
have
you can
Cardoso. So you're still
survive
good.
if there are some injuries to starting
Or
lineup
if it's
players.
yeah, they have a rotation. All right, I'm good with it. Cool. But probably not. I don't think Westbelt makes a team. Sorry, but they have to cut people. Like you can only have 12 on a
Yeah,
roster, so I don't think Maddie Westbelt makes it. But definitely, the fact that you see whoever you see here, you're probably going to see them here again, even if they do get cut. You'll probably see them like
they'll
later on in
bounce
the
around and
season.
sign a 10-day or
Yeah,
something somewhere.
especially if somebody gets hurt. Like they just
Yeah.
love to bring in people that were on the training camp roster to
Mm.
fill in for the replacements when somebody's hurt. So you already know the system, you understand everything. Yada yada. All right. Before we get to the next team, let's talk about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy pick them big higher or lower or your favorite players' fantasy stats and win up to 100x in any sport. Can't wait for our WNBA run, Scott. It was pretty good last year. I hope we're able to replicate that success. So sign up over there with the code NBA SGPN. Claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code NBA SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm is your home for AI bat picks and props. Dominate the NBA playoffs and the MLB prop market with Rhythm. Super simple and easy. And I'm telling you, if you could do it, well, if I could do it, you could do it because I struggle with anything technology based. But making a rhythm model, super easy. And I loved it. And it was profitable. So you should go do it. Rhythm has some amazing deals going on. 25% off monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25 and 50% off annual subscription, promo code SGPN50. That is Rhythm, RITHMM. Get your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right. Let's see here. We've got who's next?
Atlanta.
Atlanta Dream. You know, I really hope this works out. I don't know if it will, but I hope it does. At least for Atlanta's sake. I would love to see the Atlanta Dream actually, make a deep type of run. The Atlanta Dream, you got Carl Smesh. What? How you say his name? Smesko?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Sure. We'll figure this out. We just started. It's episode 1. First season though. Here, he built that program over there at Florida Gulf Coast, the college program where literally all they do is run, take threes, or drive to the basket and nothing else. Literally nothing else. That is all of their offense. And he went there and he won 611 games and lost 110 for an 85% win percentage in 23 years. Scott, his 14 straight 25 win seasons at Florida Gulf Coast are only rivaled by UConn. Because UConn was beating everybody.
Yep.
For a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm. And again this year.
So, all right. Let's see here. We've got key losses. Tina Charles over there in Connecticut. Cheyenne Parker Tyus over there in Las Vegas. Can't wait to talk about that. But they have reinforcements in the front court. Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones come over. Shatori Walker-Kimbrough comes over from Washington. And then they draft Tahina Paopao, which should be really good in this offensive system, Scott, as Tahina Paopao is a 3-and-D type player.
I mean, last year was kind of a season from hell and they still made the playoffs. Like, it could have been so much worse for what felt like rock bottom for this team.
Yeah, we were completely out. Dabbled with being in for a little bit, but I think we were majority out. But when I look at this, maybe they have an actual identity on offense this time, which isn't just a good 40% of giving Tina Charles the basketball. But Scott, what if they look at the team? I mean, okay, Alicia Gray, great 3-point shooter.
Yep.
Ryan Howard, very good 3-point shooter.
She also missed some time last year, which is important to mention.
Yes. I mean, we can project what Sienna Pow is going to do, but everybody else is kind of question marks on the 3-point line, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Brittany Griner can at least stretch it for you, and they got to respect it. But, dude. I don't know if this is the roster where his system is going to 100% be effective. And it's going to be one of two things here. You're going to have those games where they're just hot and they hit everything, and of course they're going to win the game. But then we're going to have the games where we're completely frustrated with this team because they can't hit anything. It just seems like, what is different? I understand it all looks different, but actually, what is different about the Atlanta Dream from any other year that we handicapped them?
For reference, by the way, last year, which was rock bottom, they went 15-25. Now, they added games to the schedule. I do want to ask you, though, swapping Charles out for Griner, upgrade or downgrade? They both have pros and cons, but I have to ask.
I want to say it's 50-50 and it's kind of a wash. Like,
that's fine.
Neither one of them is giving you anything defensively. You might want to say, of course, I think Brittany Griner is the better offensive weapon, but Tina Charles actually rebounded.
Yes, 100%.
So,
yes. You can make an argument that Griner by comp is Jaren Jackson Jr. If you want to make a comp. You can make a serious comp about that.
No, yeah, like really.
But, I mean, I think it's an under. They won 15 games last year. Did they do enough to fully step up? I don't know.
Again, Ryan was out for a lot.
I mean, you mentioned the idea of 3-point shooting, and that was kind of the main goal of Smesco in college, and I think their 3-point shooting is okay. You could argue that it'll increase the spacing for Griner in the middle, which is important. I have to always mention, though, Griner sometimes takes some leaves of absences, and sometimes it's injury issues, and I don't know if I can rely on her to be available for more than half the season. It's just the way it is.
And then you have...
By the way, I looked it up. Ryan Howard missed 10 games last year. So she played most of the games, but she did miss 10.
But that's 25% of the season. So, like, that's a lot. And so, with Ryan here, it's kind of frustrating because I'm just curious of how she looks in the offense as well, because the mid-range game is such her game. Like, that's where we want Ryan Howard at, and this offense effectively eliminates that.
They basically got an analytics coach again. They're telling James Harden with Mike D'Antoni shooting.
No, it's literally that's what it said on his presser about him and analytics. Like, he's the analytics guy, and so we'll see. I'm interested to see. Okay, so they're going to get free squares. I have to go through this. They're going to get free squares when they play the Sun and Mystics.
Do you think they'll win out against those two teams?
Yeah. But then
that's the thing about 3-point shooting, though. They can beat or lose to anybody depending on variance. Like, that's the problem they're going to run into. I can see them losing some games they shouldn't lose because of bad 3-point shooting. But they can also win games they have no business winning if they get hot from 3.
Who do I trust more to go 22-22, the Sky or the Dream?
It's a good question.
Because that's what I feel like we're going to be battling it out for. I feel like it's going to be these two teams battling out to see who's 500 and who's not.
Pretty much. Except the Sky do have a lower win total. So you have a little bit more leeway.
They got to get to 21. I don't know, man. Every time I'm a little bit lower on the Atlanta Dream than I probably should be, and they somehow slightly exceed my expectation. Because we did also have a plus 400 bet on them mid-season to make the playoff, and they did being
10 games under 500. They got it anyway.
Yeah, no, man. All right, I'm going Dream over. Screw it.
All right, I think I'm going to go under. I don't feel like great about it by any means, but when you're changing up your entire offensive philosophy, and you do have to kind of work that out with chemistry and trying to figure out what the rotations are going to be, etc., it's asking a lot to try to be fully embracing analytics. I'm picking it to work out long-term, but not to work out year one. I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
They're going to have some problems. They might figure it out later on in the season. But if this team came out of the gates and immediately was like 4-12, you would not be surprised. And then eventually they'll figure it out as they get chemistry and more familiarity with the system. So you might get a better number in season if they get off to a slow start. I'll go under. 15-25, I think that's kind of similar to where I'm having them. I'll put them at 17 because they added some games. But 20.5, I just don't trust this team enough with a brand new head coach making the transition to the pros. It's a completely different animal.
Yeah.
So I think it'll take some time for Smesko to make the adjustments needed to deal with actual professionals instead of college players. So I'll go with the under.
Yeah, no shot this team plays any defense.
No, they're going to jack up threes and pretend to get back on
this
defense.
Is going to be a glorified 3-on-3 game with how fast this pace is going to be and how many shots are going up. Like,
this might be a solid season for Griner blocks, though, because nobody's going to guard on the perimeter, so she's got a bunch of wide open chances to protect the rim. But I just don't trust the three-point shooting enough.
All right. Let's see here. Next team up. Who's next?
We got a massive jump in wins.
Yeah.
A massive jump.
It's gonna be this is the one a lot of people are looking forward to talking about. The Indiana Fever. Stephanie White, first season as head coach here.
If you forgot, she was the Sun coach.
Yes, she was. Led the Sun for the past 2 seasons, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
And conference semifinals both seasons. All right. Bunch of key losses here. Teme-Fegbile. This was the one that shocked me, Scott. When they did the draft, because of course I watched it live because I was craving WNBA at the time. I really thought Teme-Fegbile would have gotten the player tag, and she was 100%. Like, there were so many other names that I would have said was gone, and I would have told you Teme-Fegbile was the one that was staying. Like, she gave that team energy. She was great.
I thought they should have used her more, and they didn't use her enough, in my opinion. But
shocked that they let her walk and allowed her to be drafted by the Valkyries. I'm shocked.
I figured they would have kept her because Alyssa clearly didn't work out, and I figured she'd get the promotion once.
And she was such
a
good backup big. Like,
that's what I'm saying. I figured Smith would leave and they would keep once again Fegbile to be the backup, and instead they basically let both of them walk.
Oh no, I was just about to say you were 50% right because Alyssa Smith did leave. They traded her, and what I also want to say, Scott, was a horrible trade when you look at it.
They wanted nothing to do with Smith, though. They just tossed Alyssa aside at the end of last year and said, "Listen, we have no use for you."
Top 2, top 3 pick in the league, like really good offensive option. Like,
and it was the old coaching staff too. But you can tell. I don't want to compare her to the Steve Kerr-Kuminga relationship, but it was soured very quickly. They wanted nothing to do with her, and they decided, you know what? We burnt this bridge already. We're getting her out of here. That's kind of how it went. It was a messy divorce between them.
They traded Alyssa Smith and the 8th overall pick in the draft for Sophie Cunningham and a 2nd-round pick.
Well, they wanted the 3-point shooting too, but yes.
By the way, 7 and 8 in the draft this year both went to the Connecticut Sun. It was Anissa Morrow and Sanaya Rivers.
I mean, I don't mind the Cunningham addition.
I mean, the Cunningham addition is cool, but you definitely, like, in a loaded draft class, or what everybody projects to be a really loaded draft class, the 8th overall pick was pretty coveted.
Yeah, it was.
And you got Sophie Cunningham in return. And
I'm going to ask, though, with Alyssa gone, with Fegbile gone, do you like the front court?
I mean, it's Aaliyah Boston there, so I'm always going to like it.
But I'm saying, like, you're looking at the roster, and I still think it's pretty good.
I think they have a good roster. I just wanted to admit that the trade was a horrible trade.
Yeah, I'm just saying you can make the argument that it was excess goods because you also have DeWanna Bonner, and you're also throwing out, if you want to look at Natasha Howard being there, who, when healthy, is solid. They got Brianna Turner, too, if you want to mention some veterans. You could argue that she didn't really have a place in the team anyway, so they just decided to toss her aside. I don't mind their front court anyway, though. I think their front court's pretty good.
No, I think it's solid. Again, you had a lot. I feel like that was a lot of talent in Teme-Fegbile and Alyssa Smith and the 8th overall pick that on paper, all they got back in return for that was Sophie Cunningham.
Yeah, but I think they looked at the two of them and said, if we're not going to use you properly, then why do we even have you on the team? And they just tossed him out.
Yeah, it's whatever. All right. Still a good roster.
I didn't mind the Alyssa move as much as you did, but I would have definitely brought Fegbile back. But the argument is you brought in Natasha Howard, you brought in DeWanna Bonner. You made some moves where you felt like the front court was more expendable.
I don't know, man. I think age and youthfulness, I give me Teme-Fegbile over what Natasha Howard is going to give you for 30 games, 35 games.
You never know with her health, but that was the argument they had was we'll go veterans with the front court and we'll sacrifice the youth of the front court that we already had. Will it work out? I don't know, but that was the vision they had.
Well, we'll see. Stephanie White's a good coach, and I do trust her to put it together. And by the way, the Fever, while they went very simple with the graphic, I really appreciate adding the coaching staff up there. Seeing Breon January and Karima Christmas up there. What? Yeah. Love
like
this.
it.
Love the coaching staff. Love what Indiana has going on as a team. And it's just really, how far do they go? Like, how far does this team go? Is Stephanie White able to create a defensive identity in this team where they're not getting smoked out of the gym anytime they play somebody with a competent offense?
Well, this also opens up a separate question because I know that Caitlin Clark wants to play an up-tempo running gun offense because she's a great passer, probably the best passer in the league. And, of course, she can hit the shots from anywhere. So the question is, do you want to keep the run and gun style while playing no defense, or do you bring in Stephanie White, who played the pure opposite form of basketball, which was slow it down, play good physical defense, but your offense is painful to watch, and you're basically playing in the half court? That's the interesting switch we might end up seeing. Is White going to adapt, or is Caitlin Clark and the entire roster going to have to adapt to playing significantly slower, but actually playing a shred of defense?
I don't think she could play slow. I don't think she could play slow even if she tried. Like,
you think White adjusts though to that?
I think it's going to be Stephanie White that made the adjustment, and they're playing to Clark's pace. And maybe when they do get into slow pace games and these ugly games, they have better half court sets because Stephanie White is a great coach. Mm-hmm. But dog, when Caitlin Clark gets the rebound, she's immediately looking at the rim on the other end.
Like, that's my point, though. I wanted to mention a potential riff between coaching and the players involved, because this is the opposite coaching style, what we saw from previous years, to what the Fever did last year. And there could be a potential clash.
And I think that's going to be the interesting part, because what if it doesn't work? And I don't think that is going to happen, but what if it doesn't work? And what if there is a clash of, all right, say this isn't working and they are playing fast and it's not working, and Stephanie White says, well, I'm a long-time dedicated head coach here, we're going to slow this down, and that's not the way that Clark wants to play the ball. Mm-hmm. Like, and maybe that's not something that happens this year. Maybe that's something that happens, and this is why this relationship sours down the road. But it is, like you said, two contradicting styles. Stephanie White has not had the fast-paced offense and what she's done recently, but she also didn't have the personnel for it as well. And so that could go into it. I'm very interested. Ultimately,
I like the roster.
I'm still going to go over.
They added games, so I like the over too.
Yeah, they added games. It's 44. So what's that? 28.
They have to go 28 and basically 16.
Yeah. Yeah,
they were terrible to start last year, and they still made the playoffs in the end. Like, they figured it out kind of.
And we were sweating 28 and a half because they finished with 20. They finished 20 and 20.
I want to say the number we got was like 21 and a half or 22 and a half.
Yeah, so they finished 500. I think they're better than 500 this year.
They were terrible
way better.
A month or two, so they were definitely on a much better pace as the season went on. It might take some getting used to, either playing slower or working out the actual pace differential between what Caitlin wants and what Stephanie wants, but the talent's undeniable. Like, in my opinion, they're clearly the second best team in the Eastern Conference. That's good enough to get you probably to 29, maybe 30. This total, I think, sounds high, but I do think it's not as high as you remember when you factor in the added games. Give me the over. I see them winning, in my opinion, 30.
And their first month, listen to the first month of the season. Chicago, Dream, Liberty, Mystics, Sun. I mean, that's a lot of good teams to really try to figure this thing out and then roll into, I'm going over for Fever.
And the East is pretty weak, which we talked about, because you're looking at the teams with question marks about everybody so far. We'll mention the Liberty in a second. But the Fever are clearly better than all the teams we talked about, and it's why their win total 7 higher than the next lowest Eastern Conference team.
Yeah.
The Eastern Conference might just be a 2-horse race. So I'll go with the over on the Fever.
All right. Let's see here. What's next? Last team.
Defending champions.
Ring us.
Liberty Bibbity.
Ring us. Hey, that's MVP Jockwell Jones. Thank
Yep.
you very much. Shots out to Jockwell Jones.
Shout out to
Liberty
us.
also.
We gave that out.
Oh man, nice. And I mean, it was a great cash because I had already convinced myself that she was out of it, and they weren't going to give it to her. But again, that's the reason that we played her, because WNBA will always throw a curveball at you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and it was great. I actually went on a vacation not too long after. What was that, like later in the month? And I ran into these Bohemian guys, and I was like, "Oh, Jockwell Jones," and they were like, "Hey, she just won. She's MVP." And I said, "Yeah, I bet her. That's what's up." And we started talking about betting and all that. But nah, yeah, love to meet Jockwell Jones supporters out there. I should have put the picture of me and her took in Vegas up here so we could show the people.
Next time.
Literally the season before she got there, it was like I told her, go to the Liberty, you'll win a championship, and it only took an extra year than I thought. All right, let's see if they can do it again here. We've got the New York Liberty, Sandy Mondello's in her 4th season as head coach. Key losses: Kayla Thornton goes over to the Golden State Valkyrie. Courtney Vandersloot, ? Key loss.
By the way, a quick salute to Thornton, who was phenomenal in Game 5.
Dog. I mean,
you could argue she won the Liberty game.
I knew whoever they took from the Liberty, I was going to be sick that we lost them. And it kind of already felt like it was going to be KT, because I was like, Nara Sably's not going anywhere.
But she was so good in Game 5, though. I got to give her a quick shout.
Yeah, shout out to KT, man. All right. We got Natasha Cloud coming in. Maureen Johannes is back with the team. Isabel Harrison is coming in for some depth. Scott, I have concerns about the Liberty, because if you look at what's gone on in the offseason, it's been a very, very long offseason for them. It started out with the Sabrina Ionescu thumb surgery that she had to get. She ended up being fine, able to go play in Unrivaled, kind of, sort of. I mean, I feel like she played like 3 games, but and then you go and you get to the month of March, and Benajelani Hamilton has a meniscus tear where she has surgery, and she's out 5 to 6 months in March. Scott, that's going all the way up into the playoffs. She's out for the season. I mean, playoff run is where the next time we would see a Benajelani Hamilton. You have Brianna Stewart, who had a more minor meniscus surgery in March, and she's actually in training camp participating now, but coming off of surgery. And then you have Leanna Fibich, who in the beginning of the season is not going to be with the team because her basketball club, Valencia, is overseas in the playoffs. And the playoffs run from May 8th all the way to the latest as possible, May 17th, the same day as they play the Aces. Just how has her team done in the last 4 seasons, you ask, Scott? Champion, runner-up, runner-up.
Yep.
Might be a long playoff run for Leanna Fibich here.
And Fibich is so good. Such a good
Scott,
player.
I'm going to just go ahead and say it. I think the Liberty are going to not be as good as advertised in the beginning part of the season.
Well, we also have to talk about the injuries, because we know that Sabrina shot the ball horribly in the last couple games of the WNBA Finals. Then it turns out she had a torn labrum, and she was dealing with serious injuries, and she was playing through it. So respect to that. But the point is, we'll see how she looks back. You also had Brianna Stewart, who had a bit of a knee procedure during the offseason, which is problematic. So your 2 best players had offseason injuries. We're hoping they'll be fully healthy by the start. We'll see. Fibich we like a lot, but she might miss some time as well. We love Lainey Hamilton.
Yep.
And she might be missing some time too, so that's not
the worst
exactly
one.
Ideal. The point is, there are some question marks here. And the Liberty, yes, I know a home court advantage meant a lot because they were able to win the championship in their home court in the final game. But you can make the argument that since they've already been there before, they know they can get by without home court advantage.
Yep.
And they can rely on their veteran experience and their title pedigree to get by. They went into Vegas last year and won a playoff game. Like, we know they can go into harsh environments and win. I think I'm with you. I think I like the under on this.
I wouldn't say now. I don't want to be a Benedict, but I don't want to say I'm all the way in on the under either. I
Yes.
think if you so this is how you really I really think you should wait to play this. I don't think this is one that we have to add to the repertoire right now, because do they get to 30 wins even with the slow start of the season? Good possibility. It's a lot. I wouldn't say it's a lot like the NBA bad teams in the league, but like the bottom is the bottom. And I'm not expecting, Washington, Connecticut steal any games here.
I mean,
But I will say,
yeah.
this real quick is that with how the lines have moved, if they have dropped 2 early games in the season, they play Aces, Sky, Fever, drop 2 early games, 1 and 2, you might see some movement. Looking around early part in the season, oh wow, some of these teams actually really suck. Okay, so you might not get a good or a better number mid-season, but like I am very weary of just blindly taking the liberty in the beginning of the season. I will say that, Scott.
Yeah, I think what I'll say is, once again, with the added wins, they would have to go about 30 and 40 and 14, which I think is reasonable.
Yeah,
but with all the injuries they have and
it
some
could
of
be
the
a sweat.
question marks
It's just gonna be a sweat.
I think it would be, but I really do wonder if the Liberty care that much. The Liberty might just look at these standings and go, well, if we're healthy with a 4 seed, we're fine. And they just might not push for it. Last year, I thought they would. They went over because I thought that they were going to be able to showcase their dominance, and I thought that the Aces would actually take a step back, and they did. Because I had question marks about the Chelsea Gray injury, and the Aces underachieved compared to their usual standard. With the injuries that the Liberty have, I'm a little bit suspect on if they will either come out of the gate slow, or if they're going to be so focused on keeping people healthy for the playoff run, they might be punting a couple extra games along the way. So I'll go with the under on the Liberty. I'm probably not going to bet the total for that, but I do think that I will go with, in my opinion, it's going to be close, 28 and 16 season.
I think it's going to be really close, man. That's why I'm like,
I'm
let's see if we get a slower start here and we get an adjustment on that line, because Benajelani Hamilton out for the season is just that's not how you want to start the season after the championship and you're trying to go back to back. That's not how you want to do it. Scott, I'm gonna just bury the lead. I'm probably gonna be on the Aces game 1.
We'll save that for the game breakdowns, but there's a serious argument to be made about the Aces. I mean, we're going to mention the teams in the West. I don't think the Liberty on paper are the best team in the league.
Oh, no. Not
so
for me.
That's kind of where I'm at with this team.
I'm not going to lie, Scott. As of right now, they're definitely not starting the league. They're definitely not starting the year the second best team in the league. I'll say that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. Let's get into best bets.
Okay.
Connecticut under 16.5 has to go on there. That is a lot of games.
Yep.
Even with 4 extra, that is a lot of games they have to win.
I see minus 120, but shop around, you might be able to find a better number.
No way. There's no way. I'm so out on Connecticut. I'm sorry. I don't even think they understand what's going on.
I mean, the organization is out. They blew up the entire team.
All right. So I'm out there.
Do you want to make the Mystics too?
Oh, man. Like 18.5. Yeah, 19 is, that's like, what's that? 4 games? 5 games under 500? No way.
It's 5 games under.
Yeah, no way. All right. Mystics 2. Under.
I think I'll throw the Fever in there for the over.
I do like the Fever.
I understand that there could be a coaching clash with the style of play, but assuming Natasha can actually play 25 games in a season, you got Dewana Bonner, you still have Caitlin, you got Kelsey, you got Boston. Your
they just got to play defense.
Like if starting 5 is loaded.
If Stephanie fixed the defense, or at least makes them slightly better, like maybe it's just a pace thing, and they can never be a good defense because the pace is just too fast.
Yeah.
But like, even as a bad defense, we've seen bad defensive teams, as long as they just have the scorers, win a bunch of games.
And you have an elite point guard in Caitlin. You have Kelsey, who's also a bucket. All 5 of your starters can score, which is something that you don't really see in the W that often. They can score so many different ways, and I do think the Fever will end up with at least 28. I'll go Fever over on theirs. I just think 27.5. When we think the Liberty might take a step back, the Fever could be the best team in the Eastern Conference in the regular season. Yeah. I don't know if I would take them in a series against the Liberty, But in the regular season, they could have the best.
But I mean,
record in
that's
this
what
conference.
Stephanie White's done. Stephanie White's been the best team on that side of the ball with the Sun,
Yeah.
and just couldn't beat the Liberty in a series.
So
So
I'll give her the benefit of the doubt for a regular season.
she wins
run.
games. Yeah, she wins games.
If
Regardless,
the defense is even average, the offense will be incredible, and
Yeah.
they'll still win like 30 games. So I'll go with the
All right.
over on the Fever.
I don't want to bet anybody else. That's it. That's
My
actually
favorite bet, though, is going to be the Sun under. But out of the three we just mentioned, those are three that I'd consider.
All right, if you can make your best bet the Sun. Oh man, I was going to make the Sun.
No, we can both do it. Lock it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, man, dog. That team's going to be really bad. I really hate it for them, and it starts with the facilities, man. They got to start getting better facilities, and then players will want to go play there.
I respect it, though, because they looked at where they were and said, you know what? We're on the 10th floor. You got to get to the 15th. We're not good enough. So they scrapped it and they're back at square one. I kind of
Right.
respect it.
All the way back at square
All
one.
the way back down. I respect
Literally
it.
in the basement.
I wish they got a bit more for AT&T Company, but I understand the vision of what they're going for. With the Aces getting Jewel, who we'll mention in the next episode.
And then they can get Olivia Miles next year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Lauren Betts. Like,
if you want to throw Juju in there, you can.
nah, Juju's not coming out next year.
I'm just saying, in theory, there's a possibility. So
I mean,
you have
yeah,
options,
but
the point is, I like how Connecticut looked themselves in the mirror and said, what are we doing? And they decided, you know what, pull the plug. I respect it. It's going to be horrible to watch this year, but I can understand what they were aiming for.
the tank for Lauren Betts / Olivia Miles starts very early. Dude, if they lose that game at home to the Mystics, that's just going to tell you how the whole season is going to go.
They might be like the Sparks this past year. It might get really rough very quickly.
Yeah.
So.
Way too many wins. All right, Scott, anything else for people before we get up out of here?
Not really. It was fun. We're back once again for the Western Conference team win totals. You wanted to do that tomorrow?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll be back tomorrow for the second win total episode. Then we'll resume everything next week. But of course, check out the NBA show as well. See, the Cavs, by the way, were down 28 or 29 after the end of the first quarter.
The Cavs?
No, the Cavs were beating the Heat by 26 after the first quarter.
Oh,
43-17.
So
ouch.
The Miami first half and Cavs money line, that's not going to hit, is it?
Probably not. Hero said we're not losing 4-0, and they were down 42-14 in the first 8 minutes of the game. So not looking too good.
With no Garland.
Not good.
At all. All right. Shot DeAndre Hunter with 11 points.
You picked a good time to tune in because the basketball game's terrible. So welcome to the podcast.
Hello. All right. He's at Reichel Radio. I'm at ___. Make sure you give us a follow. With that, 5-star rating review wherever you get your podcast for the WNBA Gambling Podcast. Make sure you come check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/NBA Gambling Podcast. We have our episodes on the NBA feed, but this is just the beginning. Next week, Scott, literally, it's not this time next week, but later. No, wait, 2 weeks. 2 weeks, we'll be talking about the season starting. 2 weeks.
Get excited.
All right. With that is it. I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just going to do like this. We are out of here.